Hi, good day to you. Thank you so much for joining me today on the special edition of the MasterCard Entrepreneurship Program. It is special particularly because of the guest that I have today, who is really impressive. Valerie joins me, but if you're wondering who Valerie is, I will quickly just give you a quick introduction. Now, Valerie can be described as a social innovator with a proven track record for nurturing growth strategies and delivering shared value in emerging markets. Valerie is making a significant contribution to the Sustainable Development Goals. Her biggest accolade to date has been her efforts tackling the global sanitation crisis by pioneering new forms of household sanitation with the potential for wide-scale replication in emerging markets. She is currently country director of IDE and founder of the largest sanitation social enterprise in Ghana, called Sama Sama, a business operating across 8 regions in Ghana, serving more than 60,000 customers. Not only is her work today establishing a robust sanitation market ecosystem in northern Ghana, but Valerie previously served as the CEO of Clean Team Toilets in 2013, winners of the Dame Lesley Strathie Award for Operational Excellence at the UK Civil Service Award. Valerie is a strong believer in entrepreneurship as a lever to unlock the potential of Africa and drive prosperity, even in underserved communities. Since 2015, she was established as a series of partnerships with other like-minded innovators, catalyzing as a co-founder a strategic ecosystem for social enterprises focused on e-mobility, SolarTaxi specifically, and then financial inclusion, iPay, and foodtech, MenufinderAfrica. Initiatives to date at driving social change has created sustainable jobs for more than 400 people across all regions and demographics in Ghana. In 2014, Valerie was honored by President Barack Obama, being awarded the Mandela Washington Fellowship for Young African Leaders. And further, in 2019, she was invited to become a member of the 12th class of Harambee Entrepreneurial Alliance. Valerie's alma mater is that of Wolfson College, University of Cambridge in the UK, where she studied a master's in sustainability leadership. Since graduating, she continues to contribute to thought leadership and has published a number of working papers in ensuring the representation of African scholars in academia. In her spare time, she enjoys reading and watching cartoons with her 2 kids. Valerie, thank you so much for joining me. Good to have you on.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's great to be here.
Awesome. Look, Valerie, it's very an impressive resume, I have to mention. Just take us back to where it all began.
Yeah, I guess it's interesting. I'm what you call an imported Ghanaian. So I was actually born and raised in the UK in a small town just outside London.
You can tell with
the first time when
you can tell with the accent.
With my accent. Yeah. I came to Ghana the first time when I was around 14, 15 years old. And I think for me, it's been interesting because my life choices have been influenced by 2 things. Initially, I was really focused on just doing what I thought I was good at. So I liked maths, I liked numbers, business came relatively intrinsically. So I started life as an accountant and actually worked in the City of London for EY in banking and capital markets. But kind of as I've gone through my life journey, 2 things became more important, I would say, identity and my passions. So it became more important for me to understand more about Africa, African markets, African people, the dynamics, because I think that our narrative isn't true. We normally focus on the multitude and magnitude of our problems, not really understanding or articulating our solutions and opportunities. And then the second thing was on my passion. Like I have had to really go through and dig deep to understand like what is meaningful for me, what do I value? And in 2008 was the global financial crisis, where the world really had to start looking differently and thinking differently about value. And that was around the time that I realized that I wanted to use my skills and my talent and my understanding of business to really see if I could drive social impact.
Awesome. I like the fact that you mentioned identity, which is entrepreneurial identity is something that kind of widely spoken about by many academics, actually. I wonder what identity you're referring to. Are you referring more to identity from a cultural point of view, or more as your entrepreneurial identity?
I think my personal identity. So my identity as a first-generation immigrant, my identity as someone who has aspirations for Africa, my identity as a woman in leadership, my identity as somebody who wants to grow large-scale businesses, my identity as a mum and how I can influence the next generation. So I think at every stage of my life, identity has meant different things, but the important thing for me has been identity has become part of my resilience. As I've learnt more about who I am, my values and my core, it's helped me to make decisions, it's helped me be decisive about life, but it's also helped me overcome challenges that otherwise may have kind of knocked me off my path.
That's incredible. I totally agree with that. And another part of entrepreneurship, I think you would both agree that frugal innovation is really something that is spoken about a lot. And it's really all about making do with what's available to you from a resource point of view. How did you manage to kick off with the limited resources you had at the beginning?
I think the interesting thing about resources is people always think it's just about money. The best way that I found out how to maximize my resources is to have a clear plan. So if I know what my 12-month objectives is, I know where I'd like to move my business, it's helped me understand, okay, how far would the money that I have support me in reaching that objective? But it's also having a plan has helped me use that money more wisely. I think a lot of people will pinch money on Monday and spend it on Tuesday. So having kind of strong financial processes around every time someone pays me, I put that in the bank, then I spend from the bank, has helped me track the money that I've had. But it's also allowed me to do things like register my businesses, audit my businesses so that I became investable. And I think this is something that a lot of young Africans, we don't do. We think that, okay, I've only got $1,000. It's not much money. It's not going to take me far. So I don't need to register as a proper business. I don't need to pay my taxes. I don't need to get audited. But what you're actually doing is you're limiting your ability for people to invest in your business. So even though most businesses, you start with your own capacity, in order for even your friends and your relatives to feel comfortable to invest in your businesses, let alone venture capital companies and those kind of things, I would say move from being a project or an idea to being a business. Set up accounts, get a bank account, register your business, have some processes and have a plan. And that's really what's allowed me to turn limited resources into real tangible businesses.
I hear a lot of planning, discipline, financial controls, which is really true. So a lot of businesses suffering from a lot of that. I wonder, of course, the essential stages. You mentioned that people would possibly invest in your idea if you have a registered business, which is of course formal. Would you speak us through just the initial stages? Not everybody believed in your idea, of course. And how did you push through those moments when others really didn't believe in what you were trying to sell to them?
Yeah, I think a lot of people, well, basically everyone didn't believe in my idea, in terms of you don't often find a Cambridge graduate moving to Northern Ghana to sell toilets. It wasn't even something that my parents are excited now, but at the time they were like, what are you doing? You have options in front of you. So even the closest people who love you and lift you may doubt your decisions. And I think this comes back to what I was saying about knowing your identity and knowing your passion. If you feel that it's something that your idea is something, or your business is something that can change the lives of others for the better, if you know that you're doing something that you love and you can dedicate yourself to doing that and doing it well, if you are standing out amongst your peers and your competitors in the market because you're bringing quality or something new, and then it gives you that ability to what I call refuse labels. A lot of the time we are scared to fail. We're scared to do different things. We're scared to go against the advice of our closest friends. But I think the thing for me that has been helpful has been I was doing something that had never been done before. There was no benchmark, but I was confident that I could apply myself. And if you're true to yourself and you know that that's really the case, I would say try and fail, because a failure is just a learning.
Absolutely. I think I certainly agree with that. I think I would certainly say that you didn't fail once. I'm sure you failed multiple times. I guess it's true that one has to fail multiple times, and that's normal, because I think what I've observed really is that some people would try to start businesses, and in the second attempt, it does not succeed, and then they opt out. How long should people persevere until they have to think about stepping back?
I would say we're young. So I think I was saying that my parents always say that we are the generation I, because we want everything to be instant. We want everything to be on demand. We have Netflix, we have YouTube, and we want to apply those same concepts or expectations of time to our life. But if we're going to grow things and grow things of quality, it takes time. And it takes time to identify the idea. It takes time to find the right teams. It takes time to raise the finance. It takes time to actually grow. So I think that people should be willing to know it takes time. There's no amount of time that is really like scriptive. But if you look at some of the largest companies in the world, I would say pre the tech company ecosystem, some of them took 100 years, to really get to a stage where they were scaling. I think because we've also seen the Facebooks and the Twitters kind of grow very quickly, rapidly over a short period of time, we all expect our businesses to do the same. But every market is different and every product is different. And I think if you just dedicate to growing the company or the organization, then the time will be worth it. The investment will be worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that gives a true picture of what one would expect when they get into entrepreneurship. The fact that it will take a bit of time, and that if you don't see results as instantaneously as you would like to, it's perfectly normal. I wonder, of course, through your journey, which has been quite lengthy, working hard on some of these ideas that you've had, what do you wish you knew then when you started that you know now where you are?
Ooh, so many things. So many things. But I think one of the things that really has stood out for me is there's nothing wrong with having a dream. There's nothing wrong for going for that dream. I know that there's realities around you need to eat, you need to live, you need to earn a living. But I think that life can sometimes not go your way, and your first instinct would be not to follow your dreams. So I would say that I've learned to kind of unprogram myself from that thinking, and I think that's something that I wish I'd learned earlier. I think the other thing that I wish I'd known earlier has been around growing to be myself. I think a lot of the times we are wanting to conform, and that conformity can kind of kill our comparative advantage, our uniqueness. And I think that the more we grow and the more we know about ourselves, the more we would realize the value we can contribute to the world. And then the third thing probably has been being meaningful with how I use my time. I know there are a lot of distractions in this world, so people want to sit on social media, they spend their day on YouTube or WhatsApping their friends. I would say, I've enjoyed life, I've traveled, I've roamed, I've explored, but I am very, very conscious that my time is everything, and how I spend my 24 hours should include an element of improving myself, including an element of loving others, should include an element of delivering quality.
Wow, that's interesting. I'm going to stick on that a little bit, where you talk about just really being productive with your time. A lot of us in this period, this social media age, losing a lot of time to social media, and that's certainly one challenge a lot of people are going through when I speak to different people, including myself in that category as well. What do you say we can do to sort of enjoy social media when we need to, and then get to the work when we have to?
Yeah, I think social media is definitely an escape. Social media can help to, provide information. I think it helps people stay connected, especially during this COVID period where the people could be very isolated. It's a way of staying engaged. But I think that people shouldn't forget that there are other things with their times, even like reading. I think as a generation, yes, social media can synthesize information so we can take it quickly, but actually sometimes we need to think over information. So I think that for me, it's an important part of life. We have to learn and be conscious of how much time we are spending on social media. And there is nothing wrong with turning your phone off. There is nothing wrong with turning your internet off. There's nothing wrong with sleeping throughout the night without checking who's WhatsApped you. So I think that if you also realize that you're getting into that stage where social media is the most important thing in your life, take a break, reflect, and reassess and make changes.
Yeah. That's true. I certainly agree with that. Now, you've traveled, you are well traveled, but you've also seen the African continent as well. From your experience in the African market, with having operations within this market, what do you think young people must do to contribute to the growth of Africa?
The future of the continent is ours. I think there are so many things that we can do, but the first thing is we have to have a vision in our minds of what we want the continent to be. And currently the development agendas, currently the markets, even the innovation space, the funding space is being controlled by others. So I think the first thing that we need to have in our mind is we need to take back that control. And the process of taking back that control comes with ownership, it comes with innovation, and it comes with collaboration. So I think we have to be prepared to also work hard. It's not going to be an easy journey. Our ancestors, our generations before us had aspirations, they've tried, some of them have failed, some of them have succeeded. But I think one thing that really stands out for me as a continent is our time is now, our markets are ready. Consumers are awake, people want products and services. So it's a good time to start businesses. We don't need to wait for Western businesses to enter our markets for us to compete. If we're competing even amongst ourselves on the continent, I think that makes more sense. So I think the thing for us as a generation is we have to be bold. We understand our markets more than anyone else. And I would say even me as an imported Ghanaian, there is a demographic and an influence and expectation of us as diaspora to also uplift the continent. But I also think that I've met millions of customers or heard stories from millions of people across just Ghana's market that's saying that we want more. We want more products and services. We want products and services that have been designed to us. And I think that that's the expectation that the continent has of our generation, and that's also our opportunity. If you think even something as simple as toothpicks, we import. The ideas don't need to be complicated. They need to drive value. So that should be our focus. How can we drive value? How can we leverage markets? How can we deliver products that we need for our own markets that are designed to our own context? And how can we do that in our lifetimes?
I certainly agree. I think the fact that we shouldn't be reinventing the wheel, and understanding that it's above our heads, but though it's reachable, I think certainly can help alleviate the pressure that a lot of people feel regarding sort of going for those goals and contributing to the continent. It can be as simple and should be simple. Look, I wonder what you're a leader, you're a natural leader, and you've done that, of course, by some of the decisions you've made in your life that have shown your leadership quality. I wonder, what is your leadership philosophy?
My leadership philosophy, that's interesting. I would say that I read a book, it was by Stedman Graham. It was called Identity Leadership. And in that, the title says that to lead others, you must first lead yourself. And I think that's something that a lot of us forget, is that it's not about attracting followers by forcing them to be in your teams or forcing them to be committed to your business or your vision. It's about you having a vision and you upholding that level of integrity that would attract others who can also lift your vision. And that comes with serving others. That comes with not giving orders, but being able to give control, to support people with competence to contribute to your vision. I think one of the other things in terms of my leadership style has been, I don't see people in my teams or as like people who are forced to work with me. I think it's important to respect the autonomy of individuals in your team and inspire them. Share the intent you have for your business, share that bigger picture, and allow people to use their natural God-given talents to also achieve something and collaborate to achieve that success. I think that there's no such thing as people can't achieve greatness as individuals. And that leadership is not just about leading in your business, it's about leading in your communities, it's about leading in your families, and it's about applying your talents to drive the value that the ecosystem of people that you have or that you can reach would feel you've positively impacted.
That's right. A lot of collectivism, service, and leadership, and aware of your community. I know that you are making an incredible, salient contribution to your community in Ghana. I'm just wondering, you've got a team of 400 staff members, if I'm correct. I just wonder how you're innovating to ensure that their well-being is in good stead.
Yeah, and I think just some clarity, across all the business that I've started, there is an ecosystem of people who are now employed. So an example would be in the sanitation businesses, we decided, okay, we're not going to import a toilet from China. We're going to work with local businesses for them to actually be the toilet producers. So now we're actually also designing business models that catalyze markets so that we can kind of create an aggregated community of empowered local entrepreneurs. And I think how I look after people is, one, being conscious that everybody can get the appropriate value out of a market ecosystem so that they can stay committed, they can continue to improve. I think in some cases we've had to provide training. We do leverage marketing. I think one thing that's been interesting is you can't support your business to grow and support the people in your ecosystem if nobody knows about you. So these are the other things around customer experience is important, because they will talk about their experience with your businesses or your organization or your project that can bring referrals and help you naturally grow. So I think the important thing for me has been understanding what it takes or what people want in order to feel that they are valued, but also feel that their work is contributing to a bigger picture. And be willing to change and iterate when we are going down the wrong path or when we're realizing that something isn't right.
That's fantastic. I hear a lot of value, but also a big question now I'm going to ask is, a lot of the students coming out of the university environment then go on to look for a job that is probably not there, and it becomes a little bit difficult, which is a real concern. What do you think students can do to prepare themselves for the job market, and also to possibly deal with the fact that there might not be any jobs out there, and what they can do alternatively as a wait for the job that they wish to be in?
I would say, one, get a mentor. So somebody either in the industry you're interested in, or somebody whose life you appreciate or recognize their achievements. Get a mentor so that you just have an advisor. The second thing is find opportunities. It's nobody's responsibility other than yourself to craft the path of your career. And I was talking to one of my nephews recently, telling him that there are a lot of kind of incubators, programs, competitions. If he makes up his mind to even apply to one a week, by the end of the year, in 12 months' time, that's 52 weeks, 52 opportunities. The likelihood of one of them closing for him is significant. If he waits a year and is expecting his auntie, his uncle, his mum, his dad, his mentor, his lecturer to find a job for him, they're busy. The likelihood of that coming through is very, very minimal. So I would say, coming back to being meaningful with your time or purposeful with your time, keep finding opportunities and don't be scared to apply. I would say the final thing is be ready for the opportunity. If somebody says, okay, maybe I might have a job in the future, tell me about yourself. Don't now go and say you're revising your CV. Don't now start thinking about how do I pitch myself. be prepared to sell your talents. Make sure you have a good CV. If there is an application or an opportunity, read the instructions and make sure that you hit everything. If they're telling you send a pitch deck, send a pitch deck. If they're telling you send a video, do a video. Don't send a PowerPoint presentation when they're asking for a financial model in Excel. So some of these things, they may seem like small details, but they help give you that edge and put you ahead. And I think that there are a lot of people who are coming out of university without a job. That means that you have all the time and space to innovate and to start something and to try something. And if you aren't already occupied or employed, this is the best time to have the freedom to dream and deliver something for your communities.
Brilliant, brilliant. Just positivity and belief is what we sort of have to carry from that. I'm wondering if someone is listening now and thinking, look, Valerie, I've tried a business. I've tried it. It did not kick off after giving it so much time and effort. You know, what would you say to somebody like that?
I'd say pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and start again. Because it's life, you know, it's not everything that's straightforward. And I think that once you do that and people around you see you doing that, that's when they will also start to believe in your vision, because they would say, hey, actually this person, they've taken a fall, they've taken a knock, but they're still continuing. And that resilience will attract respect. That resilience will attract investment. That resilience will attract the good people, the quality people in your network who will breathe energy into your life, who will breathe energy into your ventures. So I would just say, dust yourself off and start again.
Now, on the other side of the spectrum, we've got some people who are fortunate to get a job and who are very entrepreneurial in their heart, who are chasing their dream, but they're still in that 8 to 5 type of schedule and also trying to get a business going. Any tips to people like that?
I would say I'm very much in that position often. As you said, I'm currently country director for ID. ID is a global NGO that builds businesses. So the way that I actually came across that conundrum was I moved into a role that allowed me to be in the entrepreneurship space. I allowed myself to also be surrounded by people, joined associations like the Harambean Alliance, where I was surrounding myself by people who were also building businesses and ventures, so that I could have the resources to accelerate the impact that I was having with my own businesses. So it's not something that if you have the ability or to just stop, or you don't need the financial support, and you could fully apply your time, then that's great. But I would also say that it's easy to do things, or it's possible to do things alongside a 9 to 5, as long as you manage your time well and as long as you manage your resources well. And if anything, I always say start young. The younger you are, the less responsibilities you have with your finances. You don't have to pay school fees. You're not worrying about your mortgages and your houses and those kind of things. So it gives you a kind of a head start, you know. So if you are at the stage now where you're thinking that I don't have anything to do, or you're thinking that life is very, very tough, I would say have some hope, dig deep, find your vision, develop your talents, improve yourself, and start something.
Fantastic. I certainly like that. I would like to just, of course, before we wrap this up, touch a little bit on Summer. You're doing a lot of work there. It's incredible. Just tell us a little bit about what's been happening with that organization.
Yeah, so I would say sanitation is my passion, but all the SDGs I think are very meaningful causes if you're looking at market opportunities, especially on the continent. And for us, we really started by trying to understand, Ghana ranks second on the continent for practicing open defecation, but as a country, we are ahead in so many other parameters. You know, we have good infrastructure, we have peace and security. So it was really stood out for me as like, why is it we can't improve our sanitation? So we started by just talking to people to ask them, you know, why are you building a 10-bedroom house with no bathroom? And people told us that actually, essentially, even if they had the money, where would they go to buy a toilet? And so everything kind of started from there. How could we make it easy for people to buy something so essential? How could we change it from being a construction product to being a home improvement, to make it more accessible to both genders? How could we offer affordable payment plans? Where would we find the liquidity? So we established partnerships with crowdfunding platforms like Kiva, who invest in social enterprises, so that we could actually bridge the gap between paying a toilet producer today and allowing a household in a low-income community the time to also make payments monthly. So I think everything kind of led from there, but it's been important. We've had some important milestones. I think it took a year to design the business. The first 3 months, we only sold 1 toilet. And now we have more than 50,000 users, 9 regions, because we continued to adapt to the feedback we were getting from our customers in the market. So I think this is the thing that I always say is essential to any business, is know your customer, know what they want. And as you deliver value, be prepared to incrementally improve your product, your service, your teams every day.
Incredible. You talk about getting feedback. Feedback is probably what inspires a pivot in any business. Did you actually pivot with your business?
All the time, every day. We've designed new products, we've changed our pricing plans, we've expanded our territories. We've had to reach different demographics. We realized at one point it was only men head of households who were buying our products. We had to change our marketing campaign to make it more accessible, inclusive. We had to establish partnerships with government. We've had to establish partnerships with other toilet producers. So I think this is the thing. Our markets don't necessarily make sense. So in order to overcome some of the barriers that we see, we have to partner, we have to pivot.
That's incredible. Now, I guess the last question I want to ask you, which as we look forward to how your journey unfolds, would like to know, what's your next move? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years, let's say 2025?
Yeah, it's a big question. I think for me, I see a lot of initiatives on the continent that are looking to scale, looking to grow, that could be really beneficial in driving impact and improving the quality of life of millions of consumers across Africa. I really want to be part of that ecosystem to support ventures to grow, either through partnerships with startups or through leading kind of mid-scale ventures to be able to reach that million more. I am always dedicated to changing the narrative of the continent through writing, and I want to encourage more young people to write our journeys, write our stories, share our insights, because it's not for other people to always come to our markets and tell us what we already know, because they've packaged it better. Especially those of you at university, this is the time for our voice to be heard. The global platform for academia is accessible. It's our time. It's our time to put our voice forward. It's our time to write. It's our time to innovate. It's our time to deliver. Incredible.
I've certainly enjoyed our conversation. One that has been inspiring, has been really just inspired me to dream, to believe, and to back myself even when nobody backs me, as well as also just to understand that failure will be not a question of if, but a question of how many times. So that was certainly encouraging, coming from somebody like you, who's certainly achieved a lot and been walked the road of hard work. So really appreciate it. Valerie joined me from Ghana this week on our entrepreneurship program.
Thank you. It's been an honor.
Thank you. I guess you can follow her on social media. She's on Twitter as well as Facebook, I'm correct?
Yeah.
Perfect. What are the handles?
At Valerie Labi. At Valerie Labi.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, Valerie, and all the best to you on your journey. We'll chat soon again.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.